casting was half as good as his trash talk, he might be here for this match, LD.
All right, let's go. Faceless versus NP, big match for both teams, gods. I mean, honestly, to me, this is probably one of the most exciting matchups we could have had at this tournament because both of these teams are not guaranteed invites to TI, but winning the Manila Masters might well be enough to punch your ticket.
Absolutely. This is the big event for both these two teams. The likes of OG, EG, Newbie being here. You've still got those teams waiting in the tournament. You've got to get past them, but this is the way to get to TI, doing well here at the Manila Masters.
Yeah, a long day for both teams. We had a pretty quick win by NP to start the day, and then they had to kind of cool their heels for a while so you can maybe lose momentum. Some teams who had to play 2 matches on the first day even took a nap, went back to the hotel, but you got to still keep that energy going to the next match. Faceless, fresh off of a grueling set with a little bit of time to collect themselves, so we'll see who comes in hot.
Yeah, both Pudge and Enchantress TPing mid, level 1 with smokes popping each other's and reveal some of those early moves at the start. And we've seen Jabs really adapt very fast to this 4-position role. He's been very impressive in what he's brought to the table, had a great Sand King performance against OG, and he really has been a key player for Faceless in their kind of new form here at Manila.
So the lanes will assemble, and looking very standard and what you would expect from NP, with the Batrider off lane, the Enchantress likely to roam, putting Fana mid on the Lina. A little bit less elusive or tanky of a hero. You know, we've seen the Bristleback, we've seen the Puck. Generally heroes that can get in the middle of the fight or have a way to get out of it, but a little more vulnerable to those ganks, which could well be coming in the mid game from the Nyx, even the Pudge in the laning stage. As for Faceless, looks like they are showing that Nyx towards bottom for now, so it's going to be the safe lane Bristle running it as the proper 1 position, and Ice going to be assuming the mantle of the Nyx.
Yeah, pretty annoying off lane hero to deal with the Nyx with this stout double mango. He's got over 6 HP regen. Trying to harass him out of lane can be very challenging, and may even have to see MP focus some early ganks from AUI down that direction just to try and make sure they can bully him out of this lane, prevent his experience. It really feels like the offlane has changed a lot. We're not seeing these Legion Commanders, Abaddons anymore with the Shrines, Poor Man's Shield offlane. It's now becoming much more what the offlane used to be. More elusive heroes, heroes with escapes. The Nyx, the Batrider, the 2 picked up here.
Somebody might be giving up a first blood here. Sunstrike coming out. AUI getting slowed down by the Rot. Oh, the Sunstrike not connecting though, and it is going to cost them. Jabs unable to stay in range for the Rot kill, so a missed opportunity here. Faceless unable to collect that kill, but are going to force AUI to either use some consumables or be a bit vulnerable here to start the laning stage.
Yeah, that's a tough one to miss. It should be, in their mind, like a free first blood. You get a Pudge on top of an Enchantress. You've got boots on the Pudge, and not getting that kill does kind of cost him. AUI gets his stack off still. He's going to get an early creep, so hasn't really hurt his early game whatsoever. Has forced him into a more defensive position in the jungle, but he's still able to gank out of this jungle where he is.
Yeah, and as a Lina, you're generally, or sorry, as an Enchantress, you're generally not having to tank the creeps that much, so it doesn't hurt you as much as what it might for some other junglers.
Yep.
We'll see where he wants to go first. If you're AUI in this position, gods, what's your ideal scenario? Is there a certain lane you want to gank? Do you just want to farm? What's the game plan early on for the Enchantress here?
Yeah, there's the 2 lanes, both mid and bottom, are very exposed. Invoker doesn't have good escape. No, Nyx has slightly better, but the beauty of ganking the bottom lane is you've got 2 heroes there, so it's like a full 3-man gank. Lunar Blessing gives you a lot of good damage output, so we'll likely see him make some early moves. Doesn't have a smoke though, so he's just going to grab 2 creeps and head up top. This is more like the let's apply pressure to the enemy carry, let's get aggressive. He doesn't care about making any kind of sneaky moves. He doesn't care about this rotation translating to kills. He just wants to contest the farm of the opposing team.
Highlight Die showing off the power of Warlock in the laning stage here. He's able to trade with that Nyx Assassin. SSI struggling to find his last hits, but so too is the opposing Batrider. So neither offlane are really getting a whole lot of CS here. The mid lane is a bit of a victory early for the Lina, but still overall, gods, feels like a fairly even back and forth beginning to the laning stage. Nobody gaining a clear upper hand. And some parts that can move around, whether it's a Pudge roaming for hooks, an Enchantress going for the ganks. Sunstrike can be the +1 in any of these engagements, should they develop. And
yep.
Jabs is going to make that first move for the side of Faceless into enemy territory now.
Yeah, this comes at a time where Nyx doesn't have all that much mana to use directly, but has the 2 mangoes if he wants to break into that. Does mean he'll lose some of that HP regen, so I imagine more likely than not, he's just hoping that Jabs can apply some additional
Meanwhile,
pressure.
AUI is setting up on the mid lane. Looks like he wants to go for the flank, and simultaneously, first blood attempted by MSS, but just short of getting the kill. Oh. Nice scouting there with the Forge Spirit, though, is going to identify this gank. So AUI will be denied, and Faceless almost got the first blood earlier on the Enchantress, but will in the end still collect their bounty. So AUI heading towards stop instead, it looks like.
Close one. Hook attempt from bottom. He's got the Arcane Rune, so these hooks not really costing all too much mana. May as well throw them around a bit willy-nilly. And Faceless going to be feeling decent about how things are started. Like you mentioned, it kind of does feel like both teams getting farm on their cores, no one being pressured too heavily. Both offlaners getting some levels as well as some farm. So no one pulling ahead just yet. No true success from any of the 4 position rotations. Both Pudge and Enchantress haven't really hit their stride quite yet.
Lots of roaming potential and early killing potential in this game, but not a whole lot materializing. We'll see the hook combination. Wow. Great setup there by Ice Ice Ice. That's the kind of combo you're looking for if you're Faceless, and they will secure the kill. Great Sunstrike placement there by Black. Though his mid tower is being pressured, and it feels like he's starting to get bullied now. With the threat of the Enchantress ganks, he's not able to see us in the lane. Fada's getting free chip damage in, but Jabs looks to change this equation.
What a rune to get.
He rotates in.
Tower.
Hook could be big here, though. AUI's in the neighborhood. Nuts is going to lend the assist. Starts it off with the cast. Jabs not choosing to deploy that hook just yet. They're trying to bait him towards the pit, and now they spring the trap. The Maledict's there. The hook comes through, but they need a little bit of follow-up. Fada's not going to die too quickly. Eventually will go down, but Nuts might fall to Roshan. Jabs might also fall to the Satyr as he retreats out. He's going to be in danger. Black going for the body blocks. Well played. Well played, sir. And it looks like Jabs most likely indeed will escape.
Yeah, some nice early moves. Even with the 3-kill advantage, though, it does feel like NP are doing decently in the lane. They're getting farms, and they're chipping away at that tower. You kind of highlighted how much damage Lena's done to this tower. This thing which I feel Fata really excels at in this mid lane is constantly applying pressure, focusing on objectives. And he's doing it here even before he makes any rotations, just looking to take this tier 1 as early as possible. And there's nothing Black can really do. If he tries to take the creeps away from the tower, he exposes himself to those Enchantress ganks. So as a result, Lena able to spam out the lane, hit the tower constantly.
Now, we did see earlier in the tournament, Ana got shut down fairly hard early as his Invoker, but was able to come back and ultimately was the impact player heading into the late game. Of course, that's a long road for Black to get there as AUI makes his move here under cover of smoke. The creeps are going to be revealed. They scout out Nuts. Witch Doctor just so good against Enchantress with the cast. Normally should be fine in this situation, but it all comes down to the micro skills, and already heavy damage from that blast. It looks like Nuts will make it out, but not really able to stop this kind of aggression as Fada just pummels it down. Just that casual point in the Fiery Soul early, all he needs.
Yeah, AUI and the Enchantress stole the first Siege Creep. The new Siege Creeps do a lot more damage. They're all tanking. Bottom lane, hook from Jabs.
Oh, if only Ice 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 had hit that stun, it would have been an easy kill. The Sunstrike comes through, but Envy just barely. They make him go splat, and simultaneously top XY survives the onslaught. He's almost dead right now to the Enchantress. AUI coming in for the save. It's really been the story of the tournament for NP. Pretty much every game they either win the lanes or at least have a chance in the lanes. It's all AUI coming up flush in this laning stage and doing so here again. Whether it's the tree, the Enchantress, all the creatures of the forest appear to work for NP.
The Siege Creeps are very impactful early on. AUI has stolen 2 of them now. He can refresh the one that's going to be expiring soon if he wants to, and this is a very strong pushing power coming out from him as a result.
And you talk about pushing power, look at Faceless. This is a pretty weak D-pushing lineup, truth be told, and at least until Invoker gets very farmed.
It's a nice kill to find that.
They need these kinds of kills. MSS going to go down, slowly roasted by the Nasal Goo and the Rot. NP, they're taking objectives. They're looking for a tier 1 top. And how do you stop this, Gods? It just doesn't really seem like something their lineup can do at this point. Even Envy's going to join it. Shades of LGD International with the early Luna rotation.
A level 4 Luna coming top with the double siege. He's like, look, I'll come up here. I don't feel safe at bottom. Let's make stuff happen. And this is incredibly early. This is definitely the downside of picking this Invoker. I mean, Black has been involved in a couple of kills. The Sunstrikes pair very well with the Nyx Assassin and the Pudge. But this is a hero that takes a long time to come online, does not defend towers well. It's not going to do that well in the laning stage, and we're kind of seeing it here. You've lost 2 tier 1 towers, you haven't been able to defend them at all, and CS-wise, Invoker is struggling.
Jabs keeps on trying to apply that pressure, but not able to find the hook on Pi in the bottom lane. Didn't have a whole lot of help, so would have been very reliant on the Sunstrike hitting to have a chance at that kill. As MP will take a moment here to shrine up, start farming the wood. So what's next for NP gods? Do they just go back to farming? Do they start to look for follow-up smokes or rotations?
Want to get their level 6s now. Like the first couple of tiles without was pretty cute, something unexpected, but getting Luna Eclipse up. And Luna's kind of, you want to get level 7 really, so you get the maxed out Lucent Beams for the Eclipse. Similarly, Warlock's level 6. They get a lot stronger and scarier with that rock.
Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, the creep's not cooperating, though. Jabs gets completely shut down by what he thought was his own friend.
Cancel TP. Could leave AOI still a little bit exposed at bottom, but doesn't look like Nyx wants to stick around.
They need a lot of nuke damage, so again, Sunstrike will be crucial to help control this Enchantress. See that Lina Hafada making an aggressive maneuver into the enemy woods. Yep. Just a lot of lane's really starting to break down now, aside from those offlaners. But Ice changes that equation. He will go for the Impel. Well placed Sunstrike. It's enough. Pi will fall. And Faceless look to strike back, but Fada lurks. They do have Eclipse. They have Laguna. There's some kill opportunity here. If they hit the stun, it barely is going to miss on Black. Now it's Fada who has to back away. So missed opportunity there.
Yeah, a split second to go for that stun, so doesn't quite get the kill, and we'll see Faceless get a little bit more room. They get the Vanguard up on Bristleback. This is a much needed item to defend these early tier 1s, and a big reason why NP aren't jumping to take additional objectives just yet. I think they realize like damage has been done. They've taken the early tier 1s. Time to pull back the lanes, get some more farm. Batrider's only just hit level 6. He's 700 gold, nowhere near his Blink Dagger, so it does feel like there's going to be an element of slowing down the pace, perhaps playing around like that level 10 tomb to get Warlock his level 6 before you look for a big team fight.
NP, as you mentioned, slowing things down now. XY just back to the jungle, has the Vanguard to start, so probably one of his strongest starts in the laning stage, really, of the tournament. Did seem to struggle there a bit as the Weaver, but pretty much getting free farm top. Yeah, right up there with the Invoker. So he'll be the beefy frontliner. A lot of magic damage this game. Could consider that Cloak or maybe even a full hood or pipe potentially, given the matchup.
And right now, the way this game kind of has, hook up on Knocking Line, has transitioned into more of a like, let's farm, get our levels. This can suit Faceless. This is a stage where Nyx can go around looking for solo kills. With the Sunstrike, he's got more than enough damage to kill any hero. I think all 5 of these heroes will die to the Impale Sunstrike combo. So very dangerous hero to have active on the map. And that's why they're showing Pudge bottom lane. They don't care if they know where the Pudge is anymore, because Nyx alone is such a big threat.
Well, the lane ward about to expire here. Will NP be ready? They'll need some fresh sentries in a jiffy, as Ice with the DD rune would love to get off this Vendetta auto attack, but it looks like it's going to wear off just a bit too early. Still, as you mentioned, I think they can get the kill with just a well-placed Sunstrike, and certainly with the Bristleback help, but Fada jukes him out. The hook is there. Fada's got to cancel the TP, and still, despite 2 whiffs, they might have a chance at this kill. In fact, Fada's looking very caged and very trapped indeed as 4 come in, but Fada makes the most of it. He'll take nuts with him.
Yeah, Fada's a player. Mid lane now. Rotation.
Oh, with man, the Golem and the Flame Break. Poor Black. At least he got his Midas first. He has managed to use it, so maintaining what efficiency he can. But when you don't have your tier 1 this early as Invoker, in fact, in 2 of the lanes, ideally top or mid is where you're farming, the map feels very claustrophobic.
Yeah. In some ways, like the lanes push out more, it feels like you're farming like a bit more, but yeah, like you say, you're a lot more exposed. These ganks can come in, and it's very easy for NP to succeed when they smoke up.
NP are quite far out here.
Sentry ward is there.
Only 3 in the neighborhood. Depends how hard Faceless want to commit, potentially the Bristleback.
He's out of range of the sentry. If he sticks to the top side, he will avoid it, but he's gone in now.
Oh, he pokes his little head out. The glaive is going to bounce to him, so he knows something's up. Lucent Beam will connect. Jabs roaming in. And now Ice, aware that
he's trying to test, like, where is this sentry?
No, they're going to hook that catapult back in, but again, the D push for Faceless is very minimal, and NP able to punish it again.
Yep. Ice just doesn't want to go in. Eclipse is overall pretty good against Nyx Assassin, because it means when you get stunned by the Carapace, you can still actually burst him down while you're stunned up, so don't really feel like the Carapace is going to be a good solution to diving and then Vendetta initiating onto a Luna who can just turn and Eclipse you. Especially a Luna who's tanky enough to perhaps survive through it, but they recognize that he's TP bottom now. Envy is in a very precarious position here.
Envy not spending a whole lot of time farming, and this ain't gonna help matters. Gets hooked in right into the Dismember. Sunstrike special. He, again, is stunned by the cask and will be brought down. Meanwhile, top lane looking for that follow-up gank, though there won't be a Sunstrike for a little while. Ice, Ice, Ice. He's going to have to be patient if he wants to make this kill happen, but lots of time on the Vendetta.
Yeah, he can wait for it. Doesn't have the Firefly to proc a Carapace with.
He knows that Sentry is somewhere in the neighborhood, but now he sees his opening. Stop playing with our hearts like this. Oh, he's going to let it go, man. That Vendetta attack so damn slow.
Oh, the creep
there. They don't have the firepower, but XY is going to come in. Laguna
really
insufficient. Nice. AUI will get away, and Fada actually chases forward.
He microed the creep to share the Sunstrike damage. So well played by AUI. I feel like almost certainly that would have been enough damage if he didn't split it with that neutral.
That Vendetta auto attack just so damn slow, but not quite enough damage for Faceless, at least not at this stage of the game. And look how farmed this Enchantress is. Normally you get that kill, but she's already got drums and boots. Or upgraded traits.
They've caught die.
Well, there's no saving him. It's pie for dinner.
Yes.
Nice bit of dessert for Faceless, but MSS wants some vengeance for his fallen comrade. He's going to get the lasso off here on Witch Doctor, following up, chasing forward, going for the 2-for-1 special. The Eclipse comes in, but Chairman Mao, actually, they just have the range with MSS. Lunging forward, they will be able to find the kill. Well played by NP. And again, guys, you look at so many of these fights, NP have to chase for a while for these kills, but Faceless don't have those outer towers, so it's tough for them to get there in time to try and contest.
Barrel, has he succeeded?
Yes. Sunstrike follow-up auto attack. That's a big kill, taking down Fada.
This is been a go-to build for Fata. We'll see if Ice can get out.
Nuts is coming in as well. A well-placed cast might be able to change the equation here. Bounces it through, and now the Death Ward flies. It bounces back. It keeps on bouncing back. Jackie drags the cask in, and with it, down goes MSS. A flurry of pings from Fada, who I imagine was not too pleased with Envy's pathing there. Costly maneuver.
One of the downsides of the Lina build this game is you're not very tanky. Often if you go straight into the Bloodstone, that point booster makes you a lot more survivable, but you're looking at a 980 HP Lina with extra intel from this Yule Scepter. So a Nyx combo with the Sunstrike will kill this Lina every single time. So Fata really needs to try and get this point booster up as soon as possible just so he can't be solo killed.
AUI even adding an urn to his inventory. What a gigantic Enchantress. I mean, you mentioned, so many times when he's played this hero coming into this event, he was the most farmed hero on the team, and he's only behind the Lina. But with all that said, it is still an Enchantress, and until she gets the big damage items, she kind of has this, trough in this stage of the game where she doesn't bring as much to fights.
And okay heroes like to fight her in the mid to late game. The farmed Enchantress can be dealt with okay by a Pudge with the hook in. You don't need a right clicker. Invoker, it's all magic damage. You're going to need a BKB against him. Bristleback, you can just keep spamming the quills and get in nice and close as well. Top lane.
Gonna set up here on the Bristleback. Fortunately, is not facing entirely away from the lead up, but the hook save by Jabs. He's got your back, XY. XY taking out some vengeance here on the catapult.
Very nicely done. We'll see another gank at bottom lane. Vendetta initiation. Not sure they've got the damage this time.
And be able to survive the onslaught, but still being forced back. I suppose if the Mask of Madness is activated, that's a potential kill, but...
Yes, with the Vendetta physical damage would have likely found him.
Still though, Envy is not really getting that free farm already. Look at the core discrepancy in net worth. XY, as well as Black, are quite far ahead.
XY though.
Well, XY out on his own. We've seen this movie before in the tournament. XY, maybe he can at least get a kill and trade with the Quill spam. It's not looking likely. AUI slamming the door. We'll find that last imp, securing the kill, and Faceless, deprived of one of their most farmed heroes. He now completes the Hood. I do like the Hood a lot this game, gods. There's a ton of magic damage through the early to mid game. Of course, not the best late game pickup for a Bristleback.
Also, a great Blade Mail game if he wants to get that early. Damage that can't be prevented from the Firefly, from the Lunar Eclipse, some of the Lina spells potentially. If they're going flying around, you got guaranteed Blade Mail damage. So I feel like that could be a really value item from him as well, depending on how much he feels he needs to be a carry. He's playing the safe lane farmer role, but he may just feel the Invoker, the Nyx have enough damage that he can just tank up and go more that utility build, like we saw in the last game against OG from Ice 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 in the Bristle.
I haven't talked too much about Ice 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 lately, but while ganking, he's also managed to pick up a Midas, now going back for the Blink Daggers, so keeping his own farm up. and ensuring he will stay relevant later into the game.
Yep.
What is the longer-term game plan for Faceless now, Gods? Are they content to just sit back?
Yeah,
Are they looking for a certain timing here?
They just want to keep finding pickoffs. They don't want to play the 5v5 game. You're looking at a heavy teamfight draft from NP with Warlock, Luna. You want to play the format. You want to try and split things up as much as possible and really spread NP out so you can find picks using the Nyx, using the Pudge. And the Invoker's a hero that ideally it really excels like when he's high level, lots of farm. You really want 3-4 big items, level 20 plus. You're not looking to fight with this Invoker for some time.
Well, NP want to force their hand and kind of punish that spreading of the map as they head straight to the Roche pit.
I mean, this is a play for NP. You know your opponents aren't going to fight you in a team fight. You try and force one at Roche or punish the fact that they're not team fighting in Faceless. They'll take the fight.
They want to take this one. Can Jabs find that initiating hook? Centaur's there, scouting things out. They're going to send XY in first.
You'll get the Lina.
Prepping. He got is there. He reels him in. Big catch by Jabs. See you later, Fada. And now Faceless gonna lunge forward. They'll kill off the Centaur. No buyback. They might just be able to steal this Roche. Well, they do have a Bristleback. Yeah. They're decent at it with the Caustic Zor Invoker, but
no Solar Crest.
They don't know he doesn't have buyback is the other thing, so they're not going to risk it.
I think even without Lina, you lose if you're in the pit. So if you want to kill Roche quickly, you're going to have 4 or 5 heroes hitting it, and that's where Rock, Fatal Bonds, Upheaval, Eclipse, boom, you're dead. No Lina, doesn't matter. You're going to die if you're caught in the Roche pit. So I think it was definitely the right call to back out, even in a 5v4 situation. But you've stopped your opposing team from roaching. That's the big thing there for Faceless. Love what Jabs does. He doesn't go for the hook to save the Bristle. He knows his Bristle is tanky, and it's the Lina doing the damage. Go for the offensive hook and deny NP from taking a team fight. You get that hook deep into your side of the map, Warlock can't really respond because the entire NP team is too far away. They don't have initiation. They don't have the blink on the Batrider yet.
And they don't really have a save. There's no, Dazzle this game or an Oracle, someone who can potentially help deal with the hook. If someone gets caught, there's no Venge Swap. They're on an island and likely dead, as none of these heroes are tanky by nature. They don't have the Bristleback style hero who can frontline for them. So
aggressive smoke maneuver from NP. This is where you really want to get some wards down. Warlock, he's got 1 to use. But it was Faceless already at the bottom lane, avoiding this one for now. They'd love a kill on Black's Invoker, but there's been too many heroes missing for too long. He probably doesn't know exactly where they are. He probably thinks they're in the main jungle, but this smoke, even though it went an unusual, unorthodox direction, will still not catch Faceless off guard.
Envy gonna sound the retreat, TPing out to top. Faceless playing it very defensively right now and down to just a handful of outer towers towards the southern side of the map.
The thing Faceless do really well is they show 2 of their cores. The Invoker Bristle, like, oh, we're just sitting mid-farming, but you're always going to see, like, Nyx just vendettering around, kind of off on his own, looking to make some plays. And that's something which NP always have to be wary of whenever they're farming alone.
Pipe now complete. So the team fight of Faceless starts to amp up here as you look at NP. Until Luna gets some items, they are very much magic damage heavy, and Envy, first man, caught out. Sunstrike's there, good teamwork attempted, but Jabs is going to cut him off at the feet with the hook from behind. They have the detection to bring Black down. They're laying in with the imps. He's still got quite a bit of HP, and AUI may be in a bit too deep here. The hook somehow missing that Batrider. Jabs, though, still landing the Dismember. Black's like, where's my team? Where's my help? He gets off the Deafening Blast, and suddenly AUI's in too far. The coup stacking up. They've got the Maledicte Fada. We'll get the 3-hero stun. Actually make it 4, I think. Well, nuts either way. Busy dealing with the Roach. They still trace, though. They're not done yet. They reel him back in, and now AUI looks completely finished. Venison on the menu as the Enchantress will fall.
Black played that fight incredibly well, getting all his offensive spells off at the start, and then on the retreat, used the Ghost Walk, realized he was under detection, had to get out, got the Tornado out, made the one tiny small mistake of going to the EMP instead of the Deafening Blast, but he still managed to get to the Deafening Blast in time to save his life and get Faceless further ahead, 16-6, a 5,000 gold lead. And the big thing here is they keep preventing the Roche. MP really want to be able to force this 5-man push by getting an Aegis. If they can get Aegis on Luna to frontline and hit these buildings, it's very hard for Faceless to defend that. And every time they kind of posture around that Roche pit, Faceless is there to find these picks. The Nyx initiations, the hooks from Jabs have been very problematic, and MP just haven't found success in their rotations. The big reason why they haven't is because they still need this blink on MSS's Batrider. He hasn't got it, so when you're smoking up, Your catch right now is the Lina Yule Scepter, which just doesn't have quite the same range of initiation as a Batrider does.
And she doesn't have a get out of jail free card. If she walks in too far and she gets caught, she's dead. Nyx has the Carapace.
Yep.
He's a little bit more durable. Of course, the Pudge is a meat shield. So
That's
too is the Bristleback.
Exactly what we saw at the Roche pit when Lina initiated with the Yules, then got hooked right away.
MSS running in, but the Carapace stun is there to hold him in position. Now the follow-up Sunstrike. Impale comes through, but they need a little bit more firepower. And XY looks to deliver it, charging forward. Oh, that Pudge is going to tank Laguna, will go down. Do they get the trade, though, killing off the Batrider? He's quite far on his own, but Envy comes in with an excellent flank. The Moonrider strikes and will take down the Witch Doctor as well, so a nice job by him. And that is the kind of cleaner initiation they are looking for, something NP really need because they have to get that clean jump. If they get caught out, they're likely dying.
Yep. Pudge was...
As they are a lot squishy.
Yeah, Pudge was kind of too far forward there, but NP did a really good job of punishing it, getting in, and this gives MSS his Blink Dagger. So they can look to force another Roche fight. They've got really good vision around the pit with the ward on the cliff. So it could be a location they want to fight. They did lose their Observer Ward to the north of the Roche pit, so may find themselves a little bit exposed. You really have to have amazing vision to Roche against a Pudge. You need to know where he is to not get hooked out and picked off. Nice,
going for it again. The Sunstrike's going to be there. I don't know if they have the damage for this, so turns out to be simple harassment. Now Jab's going with the hook. He's going to find Pi, but there is still a shrine here. Pi might get a save. No, MSS TPing in, and it says, yeah, sorry, buddy. It's die for you this time.
This Pudge pick has been incredibly effective. 12 of the kills have had Jabs' involvement, and that's the hero that's going to make it really hard for this Luna to ever really push high ground. I mean, talk about NP in some of their drafts. They've really excelled when they've had these like long-range sieges, like the Luna, the Lina, just hitting buildings, 5-manning with an Aegis. But Pudge is kind of like the right kind of counter pick to have against that playstyle, and you can't just stick cores onto buildings when there's a threat of a Pudge meat hook.
A back and forth game here. It's still a decent gold lead for Faceless, up 5k despite the tower deficit.
Fata's got a Shadow Blade, goes away from the Bloodstone build. This is the first time this tournament we've seen him not go straight into the Bloodstone after the Yules, and wants to play the pickoff game himself. I think he realizes Faceless are not going to play this 5v5 game. That's where the Bloodstone is good. In a game where they're playing split, you've got to try and catch them as well. So he's trying to find pickoffs. Similar to the Batrider, it means they can both kind of function a bit more independently.
And certainly this game, Silver Edge is fantastic against the Bristleback if he wants to upgrade it. But bottom lane, again, it's Pylai Die. And Ice there to set it up, catches him out. Cool guys don't look back at Explosion, so he'll blink away before the Sunstrike even connects.
Ice is just a constant threat. Even when he's doing this and they slightly miss the kill, it just delays NP. They're the ones who feel like they have more of a timing window where they're trying to take Roche, take towers and objectives, but constantly forcing heroes to heal. A Tornado EMP onto Envy at bottom means he's now low mana. They can't actually play an objective game like they normally do.
Definitely feels like Faceless are more comfortable moving around the map. It's not the most overwhelming lead, and the map control advantage technically should be in NP's favor given the tower score, but in practice it's really not. It feels like Faceless, because they have that ganking threat and that global potential, are actually the scarier team. Is it like a point where NP has to consider a gem pickup gods? Can they 5-man with something like that? Another pick. Pylai died, just starting to chain feed Ice. Tough game for the Warlock.
Yeah, I was just thinking that there's really two options. Oh, another kill.
Oh, and a big one too. Fata on a little trip through mid, but the dust was there, and the punish comes out. I think they may have seen him go invis with the Shadow Blade up near the Radiant Creep Camp. As you can see, there's a dire ward somewhat in the neighborhood.
I mean, there's really two things to deal with this Nyx. One, buy a gem, put it on your Batrider, but he's not going to BKB, so he puts himself in a dangerous position. Or two, invest a ton in sentries. You need to put sentries on the map next to your Observer Ward so you see the Nyx invading your jungle. You don't have to physically have a hero there with sentries. You just need to know where the Nyx is, bait him into a gank, and then turn it around on him. But Warlock's just constantly dying. He hasn't even been able to afford many sentries. This is where, if you can buy like 3-4 sentries, set up a few trap locations on the map at like common access points, you can find the Nyx. But Faceless have just found one too many pickoffs and now find themselves, as a result, in the Roche pit themselves, but a little bit wary of NP's team fight.
You know, why group up as 5 against a Warlock if you don't have to? But they're itemizing to take those team fights. You see a Crimson Guard now grabbed by the Bristleback, so XY super team-oriented here with the pipe. The Crimson Guard complete, and Faceless are going to make a bold 5-man maneuver forward. It's Ice 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 once again. He starts it off. The party begins. Could be in a bad way, too, as MSS is isolated. That means no lasso initiation, though they do get off a decent rock. They'll bring down jabs with it, but the Pudge, not really the most important hero in these larger scale engagements. So Black re-engages now, finds the Tornado, EMP as well. A fairly ineffective Eclipse from Eternal Envy. Does net them the nuts kill, but that's about it. Still not bringing down those more crucial targets, and XY charges in. He's going to force out the NVBKB. There's no way you kill XY yet. You've got to wait out this pipe, wait out this Crimson Guard, then maybe you can go back in. They will try just that Fada, though, nearly out of mana. XY even thinking about sticking around. So they get the 2-for-3 kill advantage. They do commit a BKB charge, some big ultimates, gods, with the Eclipse and the Warlock. Was that even a win for NP?
I'd say it was. It wasn't like a massive game for them, but it was still a kill on this very pesky farm Nyx Assassin. It was like 1,000 gold swing for them. So it's still fine. I mean, they haven't been using these ultimates. That's the thing. I haven't seen a Chaotic Offering or an Eclipse in 10, 15 minutes. So the fact they found a 5v5 where they got to use their ultis, they came out slightly on top, that's what NP need. It gives them something to work with, and something that they can kind of look back to for the next time they have those ultis up.
I mean, if you're Faceless, don't you just go Roche right now? Like, you know those ults are on cooldown. To BKB was blown.
Yep.
Seems like a really big opportunity for them.
Jabs. He misses the... But
I did see XY just walk in the pit, so it looks like he was calling to go take Roche now.
Yeah, you either go Roche or you go fight while they're down. You've got 80 seconds on Warlock, 60 on Luna. Definitely a good time to take a fight. Problem is, top lane, bottom lane, lane equilibrium not in the best place, but they say stuff it. Pudge will solo push out top and then make his way towards the pit. Let's force this road.
Will NP come out to play?
I'm not sure they can without these ultis. It's
like they're more interested in split pushing. Fada is attempting that, but Ice 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 is already in pursuit, setting up on the bottom lane. I don't know if the Sunstrike alone is enough, but he's going to try. Goes for the Carapace initiation here with the stun. Oh, baby, is it ever. Another kill. Black just being freely fed by Ice 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 this game. Easiest Invoker game of his life.
Yeah, it's one of those games where Invoker's going to end with some like crazy KDA and net worth, but realistically he's just sat farming, playing passively and throwing Sunstrikes. I mean, he's playing a great game. This is the dream Invoker game. This is exactly what you want your team to be doing when you're playing Invoker. Very little pressure on Black outside of the first 5 minutes of the game, and now with an Aegis in hand, they can play aggressive themselves. Invoker, the recipient of that one. They feel XY, I mean, they look at the last one and they're like, XY didn't die. They focus Black.
Hulk initiation from Jabs is going to start it off, and the Death Ward combines with another Sunstrike. Black racking up the kills now at 17k net worth. Another strong showing from an Invoker player this tournament, as Faceless continue to move. Envy, Sama could be in danger. He does have the BKB, but
he's going to save the stun for the TP.
He's going to have to BKB TP out to have a safe retreat, or he can run away. Either way, he's not defending the base, and XY is punishing right now. He's actually farming in the woods here. If you go for the initiation with Vendetta first, he should have a chance to BKB. I don't know if they have the damage with just a stun, but the whole team is caravanning towards top lane, and he's just going to start it off. Straight stun to the face. Down he goes again. Ice 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 is on fire.
Yeah, very patient. He knew he didn't quite have the damage. Saw the Mask of Madness and was like, this will be enough. This will give a bit of extra damage to my Vendetta. We'll make sure we get this one. We don't have to get that mid-rax just yet. We've already opened up access to the shrines, and Faces will fall back, take the first of a couple, and look to go in on mid, perhaps. Black's just TPing in, and with Envy dead, we may see Faceless make a go at this mid lane.
Does have the buyback, but already down substantially to his counterpart cores on the side of Faceless. Certainly doesn't want to have to use it here. But gods, this is the dream scenario for NP in the sense that it's a congested area. They have the big team fight ults.
Yep.
How will Faceless position themselves? They're pretty spread out right now. At most, you can hit the 2 cores in front, but with XY being so tanky, it won't be easy to find that opening. And indeed, Envy does not want to quit the buyback, so they sack a lane of Rax here. Freely taken by Faceless. They just march in and grab what's theirs, and now they waltz away.
Yeah, they're good with their positioning there. They know the Bristle on the front lines is too tanky to be lassoed, and the Invoker has a Lincoln. So the Aegis doesn't protect the Invoker when you're pushing there, because if he gets lassoed, pulled into tier 4s, he'll die twice. But with the Lincolns, there's no real good way for Bat to start the fight. and the rest of the team were just positioned very far back. Ideally, you want to try and catch the Nyx with the lasso, and speaking of getting caught, he has been found.
That's a big kill.
Yeah, right on top of the sentry.
Down.
This is the kind of traps I mentioned. Dealing with the Nyx, you either need a gem or these Sentry Observer combos. He's sitting around, he's invis, but he's right on top of one of the traps, and they do find a much-needed kill on him. I feel like they just haven't been punishing Ice enough this game with his movement.
Still, a 14,000 gold lead here. Faceless well in the lead. Are there items or talents, something that will give NP an injection? Is there something that brings them more into contention, or is it just purely like getting some counter kills?
There's high ground defense for him. That's why I really look at with their draft now. Very strong when they're playing from their high ground with the Enchantress, with her range, with just the Batrider able to find a pick off to start things when you have full vision of your opposing team. May even see a point where they do consider just lassoing XY and pulling him deep into the base. Those is without the 4-star, so actually they can't really make that play. And 0 4-stars, the Bat opting for a must-need BKB against the Nyx, but not having a 4-star means your high ground defense as a Bat just isn't what it really could be. And I feel like that is something that NP need to be investing in.
At the same time, Carapace is just such a good way to shut down a Bat initiation, so
yeah,
understandably a tough choice for MSS. I imagine wants both if he has the time this game.
And Warlock, 2 to farm a 4-star, has been buying sentries all game, has a gem queued up. The Batrider's BKB coming soon means MSS is going to be a good candidate to hold on to that gem. But down the lane of Rax, Faceless will slow it down, content to not force the issue too much. They know their Aegis is going to be expiring fairly soon, so they feel content with what they've got. Not to mention that lane of Rax and all the map control they've got has extended their lead. They're filthy rich.
NP buying the smoke right as the Aegis is set to expire. Also want to point out, Pylai Dai, ever the martyr for his team, is queuing up a gem in the quick buy. So they look for a solution to this Nyx. And to some extent, I suppose the Invoker goes walking about.
They're going to push out this mid lane. They haven't got Luna on the case. They've got Enchantress slowly pushing out. But unless you push this mid lane, like at least to the river, ideally past the river, any smoke is going to be very obvious to Faceless. So they need to figure out the creep equilibrium right now. But you've got Nyx always hunting for kills. You've got Invoker always spamming out the lanes with his Blink Boots of Travel. You can't catch him because of the Lincoln. So pushing out lanes is incredibly difficult. Yeah,
with no Force Staff, no way to break that Lincoln Sphere at this stage. So Black should feel still quite free to roam, and it certainly helps that the team is giving him a lot of intel around the map. Ice always ganking under Vendetta. A couple of their other heroes usually clumping up a bit more.
He's ready to go bottom potentially, but the blink out from Bat.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The siege begins rather rapidly as XY has put together an Assault Cuirass. I think his best game of the tournament, Gods, as far as like, keeping farm up, balancing fighting and farming, and just not dying a lot. We saw, granted Bristleback is very tanky compared to Weaver, but a lot more deaths in that Weaver game against OG. But this time he's having a ball.
Yeah. Everyone on Faceless has just fulfilled their role, done what they need to do, and it's been really a perfect team play as well as individual play where it's needed. And Faceless are going to starve out NP now. They set up camp outside top lane as well as leaving Ice bottom. He'll keep hunting for kills. The solution really does come from getting a gem or at least getting some wards to try and scout out where this Nyx is on the map.
And it's not just the Nyx. I mean, look at those deep wards that Faceless have gotten down. They really have map control between towers, wards, and invis ganking potential in spades.
And Nyx being missing means you don't want to fight into the top lane because you don't know if he's there. If you know 100% he's not there, you might consider initiating on top, but also means you can't really defend bottom because you've just not got the vision up, and you can't get the vision up because you're stuck in your base. No hero able to really move out other than maybe the Lina, but even that is very dangerous as Faceless even have bought a gem of their own now. Something Ice will carry out. I like this decision. Makes him a lot safer when he goes for these ballsy plays around the map. And with a Lincoln Sphere, good luck trying to catch him with a lasso or a Yule's initiation.
Ice prowling in the front lines. Faceless following their fearless leader as he moves towards the western side of the map, creeping in under cover of Vendetta. but there are sentries waiting here, and he sees them. He also sees that Observer Ward. He'll let XY join him. He does not want to be out of position. Putting the Bristle now in front. The Invoker close beside him. The Dire squad of Faceless begin to press forward. They're going to fish here with the Sunstrike. Get a little bit of extra vision up the hill.
Yep.
And they know they always have the creep equilibrium going their way with that mid lane pushed in.
Faceless can play a very patient game because they've got putts. They just got to wait for a hook. They'll keep throwing them, see if they land. Like you say, throw a Sunstrike for vision, see if that finds a hero to hook in. And they don't have to force this high ground. They know they can wait for the next Roshan, keep the lanes pushed out, send some of these cores to go in these gank missions.
You've got Black hunting in the bottom side of the map right now as he looks for MSS on the Batrider. Doesn't have the BKB, and Black is going to find him too with the cold snap there. Big opportunity for a pickoff. Pummeling MSS with heavy physical damage. Will he have enough for the kill? Definitely blast back, and he secures it. So it's not just the Nyx. Now the Invoker is a one-man ganking army as well.
And now Envy's just like, I'm going to cut some waves or go into the enemy jungle. Like, he doesn't feel safe to farm anywhere near the Radiant base, so he goes to the Dire side of the map. He's like, this is probably the safer place to be, and rightfully so. There's so much Dire vision, and all the Dire heroes are right outside your base because they want to pressure the lane. So Envy can farm the enemy jungle and ideally creep skip some of these waves with his position right now.
Well, let's hope Envy has a TP because they are coming, gods. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Tornado crashing through, won't find anyone, but XY just hitting buildings right now. No tree this game, so this is permanent structural damage that Faceless are applying. And with the Bristle out front, the way they're spreading on these pushes, I have been pretty impressed by the discipline and the positioning of Faceless thus far.
Yeah, still looking for that hook initiation that Jabs hasn't found in the recent times, but you know, you keep throwing them, eventually you'll get one. And if you don't get one, you just go Roche and then go force a siege using the Aegis. But as mentioned, NP do excel with the high ground defense. Unfortunately for them, Batrider's BKB still not up. His death at the bottom lane was right before he had the money for it.
BKB almost up. Faceless in position. They know this Roche is guaranteed to respawn soon. NP do. And I suppose we wonder if they consider contesting at the pit. Like, do you think with the map control being what it is, the state of the game, can they risk leaving the base to try and take that Roche fight?
Yeah, my opinion is they can't, just because of the vision factor. They don't actually know they're in Roshan is the big problem. Enchantress can enchant a creep and send it, but very likely gets easily picked off. And the way you can set up around the Roche pit is you put your Invoker, your Bristle on the Roche pit, and Nyx will just stand on top of the Radiant high ground around their Ancients, pop any smoke, and then immediately initiate on them or just blink out of there. He's got a Linken's. It's 99% impossible to contest Roche. I just don't really see it working. They're going to smoke, they're going to go for it. I just feel like this is a very low percentage play. For NP to pull this off, they're going to have to get very lucky and play it absolutely perfectly.
And Ice is out in front, at least for now.
He'll
to break the smoke. He has the
go.
Carapace. He blinks out instantly. The BKB gets committed, I believe. MSS rushing in, and he's going to find of all heroes XY. That is not really a killable target, at least not rapidly. Thada on his own. He blows his BKB. 2 BKBs and a lasso down, and really no damage done. This is all kinds of trouble for NP. They need to get the hell out quick, fast, in a hurry. And meanwhile, an Eclipse also swinging and missing. I believe the cask was bouncing there as Vada is going to join MSS beyond the grave, dismembered and finished off. A romp for Faceless, making it look easy. Even the Sunstrikes are connecting as they chase forward, looking for more Black there to cut on the off at the pass. Chairman Mao about to be toppled from his throne. The cask will bounce and down he goes. Faceless making it look easy in game one as NP face a very angry Bristle right in the base. The hook is there, threading the needle. Jabs does it again. Faceless in control and about to take the 1-0 lead.
Yeah. Right. It's one of those things I say they shouldn't contest Roche, but giving up an Aegis cheese, they think it's just GG at that point, so they go for the bold play. Eyesight, perfectly positioned to pop the smoke, blink away. His Linken's even blocks the Laguna, so Lina BKBs tries to focus the Nyx, but can't Laguna him because of that Linken sphere. And it's just GG, LD. Game one is in the bag.
That was uglier than the hype off, gods.
Well, NP are going to have some things to think about going into game number 2. Boy, do Faceless look scary right now.